clown show. How is Biden better than that at being a clown show? It looks like we're just more of a clown show, you know? I don't know. There was one other thing. I had a friend, coworker, friend, whatever, one of the two, tell me that yes, he does regret that Biden's president, but he doesn't regret that he voted for Biden over Trump. I'm like, okay. And he said, people saying that the economy was great, which it was, and it's not doing great now. It's terrible, but the economy wasn't everything, right? And I was like, okay, and he mentioned that Trump's racist. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue about that. That's not what I'm going to say. But how do you believe that Biden's less of a racist than Trump? He had said some pretty racist things on the campaign trail. I'm not talking 20, 30 years ago, or however long was a senator ago. If dinosaurs still roamed the earth at that time. But on the campaign trail, he literally told a talk show host or a podcast or whatever, when they were doing an interview with him, he asked the question, if I remember correctly, not in exact words, was, if I'm black and don't know who to vote for, how would I know to vote for you? And Biden's response, this is probably not word for word because I'm terrible at quoting things, but I do remember the spirit of what he said at very least, and most of the words. It said, if you don't vote for me, or it was either if you don't vote for me, or if you don't know to vote for me, then you ain't black. Like, how's that any less racist than what Trump said? Once again, I'm not arguing if or if not Trump is racist. It doesn't matter. I don't care. What I'm wondering is, how is somebody who said that less racist? And then again, Joe Biden can't remember what the heck he says. And several of those news I listen to say, like, you look at the guy. Is he alive? He kind of looks like a puppet. He looks like he's on something because his eyes are like pitch black. There's no iris. He looks like a puppet, and he looks kind of dead. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't want to get myself in trouble with YouTube, but whatever. I kind of, I want to create a show. I'm trying, not a show, a channel, and grow it. And I'm trying to do that by talking about things that I think are important, and giving my opinion and stating what I think are facts, and showing you a park or nature while I do it, because it's a little boring to just sit in my room and talk. But some of the things I'm saying might get me kicked off before I even get a follower. I don't even have a single follower. I'm not even following myself, because I'm lame like that. Anyways. I hope you're enjoying the video. I hope you're having fun listening to me rant and potentially rave and talk. This is a nice little park. I wonder what it looked like in the winter after it snowed. I've been told that the last 2 winters, I moved here. This is the middle of the 3rd year I've been here. Meaning, like, I moved April, I think. And it's now August. So, just beginning the 3rd year for me. I've been here. So, I hope. Well, I don't hope. No. The winter is supposedly going to be a lot worse than it's been the last couple winters. More like the normal winters, which are going to be really cold if that's true. And I'm not going to be happy if I being cold for a prolonged period of time. I mean, it's still August, and like I said, I'm wearing a sweater. Sun is shining. It's right over there. I don't want to blind you, but it's shining. Oh, I just finished a campaign of D&D. What was it? We went to the Astral Sea. The Astral Sea, yep. The place between worlds, between divine and non-divine worlds. And we go to the heart of it, essentially, the center. And parents of the main characters, was introduced like a month and a half ago. So the games, like I got introduced like the last third of the game. So that's where we're at with that. But anyways, I went to the center because the parents of the main characters, so not me, I'm a cousin, I think a distant cousin, they all disappeared. They vanished. A hole in the sky opened up, and the astral, and sucked a bunch of stuff into it, and the astral sea opened, or into the astral sea, including the parents. So our whole quest for their kids has been to rescue them. And apparently their cousin messed up the ritual that they were using to try, and we just found out at the end of the campaign today, they were trying to separate the astral plane. No, not the astral plane. They were trying to separate the planes of the gods, from the planes, the mortal plane. Because they were worried that because the divines seem to be a lot less well organized than the devils and stuff like that, they weren't going to be able to really protect them for very long. So they were trying to cut them off from the material plane, which you could technically call it Earth, from the astral plane, using the power of the astral plane. The cousins of the main characters messed with the spell, forcing the parents to disappear. Like I said, instead of absorb the power of the astral plane, to cut it off from the gods, cut the material plane off from the gods. Oh, we just saved them. And that was pretty much the end of the campaign, because the main characters were thought to be have killed their parents and the king, because the king was absorbed as well. We saved them. They explained to us that was what they were trying to do. Like, why would you do that? They told us why. I'm like, okay, let's not. That's not a good idea. So, very interesting. And the campaign ended. First time, well, I mean, technically, could have kept going. We were only reached level 12, so technically there's 8 more levels. Technically, after that final fight, I probably would have guessed that if we had to keep going, it would have been level 13. So 7 more levels to experience and grow. But we reached the end of the storyline, which is good. I like that. I enjoy that. So now I have another night of the week free, because while that happened today, which is also why I'm videoing later in the afternoon / evening than earlier, because the it wasn't the best. No. Because it was final session, and the DM is going to back to school for some stuff, and it's got a new job, and it's pretty strict. Not strict. It's pretty intense. He was like, I can't really keep this up. So we had an extra session this week on Saturday in the morning, because that's when everybody else was available. And I could just move my morning / early afternoon stuff to the evening. And I did, and that's what we did for that. So it was interesting to reach the end of a storyline and like kind of actually get to the end of a storyline and complete it. Like the other campaign that I've reached the end of a storyline, we know what it is, but we actually haven't finished it. Like, we know what's going on, what the big bad's doing. We haven't actually been able yet. We were doing some last minute pickup quests that we needed for additional power and some additional levels, because we had characters were working off of the Pathfinder system. So our characters were working off of Gestalt, which is different than multiclassing, because what it means is whenever you level 2 separate classes. at once. All right. So, say my character's a wizard, I can also be a rogue, but instead of being like, I'm level 7 and I have 6 levels of wizard and 1 level of rogue, I have 7 levels of wizard and 7 levels of rogue, but I'm still technically a level 7 character. It's an interesting concept. It's an interesting idea to do. Yeah. Certain combinations are really broken. Certain others are like, yeah, your abilities kind of work against each other. Oh well. And we were also working off what they call, what's it called? It's not divine. It is supposed to be divine power, but it's heroic. That's not right. Can't remember what it was. But essentially, you're demigods, and you get more powerful as you go through demigod trials, and that's interesting. Running that in another campaign I'm actually, as a DM, using that system. Just the divine part, not the Gestalt. But so we got these trials we wanted to pick up, and some last minute tasks we needed to do for the levels, and some promises we made to some NPCs that we had met in our quests before we take on the big bad. And that's where the campaign ended. Sorry, not ended. Got put on hold. Because the DM was like, I needed a little bit of a break. Let's run something else. And so another player who's like pretty good, really good at this stuff. Oh, I have to cross back over the bridge. Creating a campaign and trying to run it. Oh, hold on a second. Last note, I guess, before I go back into this, I passed by a family, so be quiet, because you might not be able to hear me over them. I don't want them to see it, or I don't want to see you see them, whatever. But anyways, there's the sun over there, big ball of light. But yeah, it's not late enough to see the sunset. Sorry. Anyways, back to that. Yeah, so we're big boss, last minute quests. And so the DM was like, yeah, well, I need a break. I need some time to think of the last couple things you need and prepare the final adventures and whatnot. So technically we got to the end of that storyline. We just haven't actually done the end. Whether we succeed or fail is not yet determined. But we know what we're doing. We know when we're doing it. We're just picking up some last minute quests so that we can make sure that we are powerful enough to do the thing that we need to do. If that makes any sense at all. And it's pretty cool. I really like the campaign. But it's essentially on Never Ending Hold. Speaking of that, several campaigns that I'm in that same group on Never Ending Hold. Including 2 that I really want to get it back into. I keep trying to make a character who's supposed to be a leader type in this group. He wants the character that I keep creating, characters, they're always wanting to be leaders instead of my normal position, which my normal position is kind of, I like to create the characters that know everything. I like creating know-it-alls. If any of you think I'm a know-it-all, I know I'm not a know-it-all. I just really like to be well-versed, and I think there's topics I really know really well. But these characters I like to create are really know-it-alls. Really well. But in addition to that, the characters kind of tend to be background. They don't talk so much. I'm not like the big talkers of the group. Not the ones always trying to interrupt and be the one to be the representative and talker of the group to whoever we're talking to. So I keep trying to create these characters that are like partially they're one that I really want to play again, but probably won't because the player dropped out and we haven't heard from that player in a long time. And he wasn't necessarily critical to the campaign, but the campaign was like all of our characters have a backstory and are important to the campaign. Like, he's not critical to the campaign as in he is the important thing. No, he's important to the campaign as in all of our characters are super important to the campaign, because we're actually, our characters, we don't really know why we're being hunted, really, just that we're being hunted, and that we need all the characters, because all the characters are important, because let's see, my character is not the direct target. One of the other characters who's actually from the same region I am, but whereas my character is kind of a martial character with a few spells, that character is more of a caster character. And I was asked by him when I was we're both tribals. My character was asked by his grandpa, I think, or maybe his dad, to protect him and his younger brother. And so I did, and I went in the direction they indicated, and we came across more military-minded guys who we were supposed to stop at and ask them for help, and they basically are holding off the thing hunting us, but not able to stop it, right? So we get another party member and a small group, because I basically split off from my tribe and then leading my own new tribe, trying to make a name for myself. And so he's a military guy, military training. He's got a squad of people. So I've basically got an on-the-move kind of group of people that I'm in charge of. This guy has a squad. The other person is more of a wild animals beast tamer. That's what he is. He's a beast tamer. So he's not really able to, doesn't have other beasts. He has a mount that's like a white antelope or something like that. Something really rare. But anyways, they continue, Brian. So we rescue the guy, or we get to the guy, and he joins us. He's also been asked to protect it by his leader, who's now dead. That's kind of a military thing. This is your last order, is to protect this guy. Okay, so we'll continue escorting, and basically we've been told we need to go to the Necromancer lands, and there's a guy there who can help us. But the thing is that we don't know how to get there, neither does the guy. So he sent us a land and said, look for this guy, this is his kid, and he will know how to get back to the base, to the guy's laboratory, where he's at. So that's what we did. We met up with him, and he already had another character we met up with, who he had met up with at a different location. And still in the Necromancer lands. They're both Necromancers, but, well, that guy's a Necromancer. This guy's like a fighter who regenerates and kind of stuff. And like we had an encounter with him where we were not fighting something. We were in the place, I forget what he called it. It's like almost like the place between or whatever. But basically, we were on a path, and we kind of strayed from it for a second, and we saw this giant thing that ended up throwing a tree through the guy. And while he was kind of dying, we helped him onto the path of the thing. Couldn't attack us because the path was protected. We pulled the tree out from him, and he recovered. It took him a couple days. It wasn't like Wolverine level regeneration, but he still regenerated. That character is the one whose player disappeared on us. So it kind of sucks. I don't think the campaign will continue because he's supposed to guard the Necromancer, who has his own mission that he's supposed to be doing. It's another player character. And he has a little squad, and so does the other guy. So I'm the only one with like a full-on village, like with the ability to hunters and gatherers and medics and stuff. Everybody else is like some sort of soldier troop. Or just a guy who breeds animals, who doesn't have any animals to breed right now. Or hasn't been able to breed any animals right now. Yeah, so I don't think the campaign will continue, and it's just one of them, but I love that, and that character wanted to be a leader, or I wanted that character to be a leader. Okay, well, that ends my video, and this is my car, so Decker out. See you next week.